So, what happens when those invisible bonds that hold a society together start to, well, fray? We're not just talking about politics here. We're talking about a breakdown in the very system of trust. And today, that's the system we're going to map out.
Welcome to Crisis in Perception, where we examine the systems shaping our world. For this explainer, we're diving into the core arguments from Robert Reich's book, The Common Good. We're going to use it to really get a handle on the mechanics of civic trust and, what happens when that trust starts to decay.
All right, so here's our game plan for this analysis. Think of it like a diagnosis. First, we have to define what a healthy system of trust even looks like. Then we'll pinpoint the shift in incentives that really started the decay. After that, we'll look at the fallout, the predictable outcomes, and understand how this whole problem just keeps feeding itself. And finally, we'll zoom out and see how it connects to the bigger picture.
Okay, so first things first. Before we can even begin to understand what went wrong, we have to define the system itself, right? So let's ask the big question. What is the common good, really? Now, according to Reich, the common good isn't something simple like a policy or a law you can just pass. No, it's the underlying system. It's this shared pool of trust that's built on our common ideals. And that trust, it is the absolute essential ingredient for a functioning democracy. It's what makes cooperation possible, because we can all just assume that most other people are playing by the same set of rules. And this leads us to a really powerful metaphor, one that sticks with you. I want you to think of democracy as a massive bridge. The common good, that shared trust we were just talking about, well, that's the bridge's load-bearing supports. You literally never notice them when they're doing their job. But if they start to corrode, the whole structure becomes unsafe. It's like you can't see trust until it's already failing. And listen, this is not some new, radical idea. We're talking founding fathers stuff here. As James Madison himself pointed out, just the knowledge that fair, shared rules exist, that alone creates a kind of self-perpetuating confidence. I mean, when we all believe the game is fair and the rules apply to everyone, we naturally trust each other more. And that trust, well, it just makes the whole system stronger. Okay, so if that's what a healthy system looks like, what the heck happened? What caused it all to decay? Well, Reich's diagnosis points to something really fundamental, a massive shift in our societal incentives, a change in what we as a society decided to reward.
In this right here, this captures a huge cultural change. Reich argues that sometime around the late 1970s, the whole American ethos just shifted. We went from this post-war feeling of, hey, we're all in it together, to a much more cynical, individualistic mindset of, you're on your own. All of a sudden, winning wasn't just everything, it was the only thing. It became way more important than how you actually played the game.
And look, this new mindset wasn't just a vibe or a mood. It got baked right into our institutions. Reich points to 3 key areas where this whatever it takes to win logic completely took over. In politics, it meant winning at all costs, forget the unwritten rules. In business, it meant maximizing profits no matter what, ditching any real obligations to workers or communities. And when you put those together, those forces started to rig the entire economy for the people at the very top. So when you fundamentally change a system's core incentives like that, the outcomes are, well, they're pretty predictable, aren't they? Let's walk through the symptoms that start popping up as that pool of trust just evaporates. First up, rule bending and exploitation become normal. Think about it. When everyone starts to believe the game is rigged, cheating doesn't feel like some big moral failure anymore. It just becomes a rational survival strategy. I mean, why would you play by the rules if you think you're the only one doing it? You'd just be a sucker, right? Second, that whatever it takes logic directly leads to widening inequality. It lets the powerful rewrite the rules of the market to concentrate wealth right at the top. This isn't some random accident, It's a direct result of the new system's incentives. And for pretty much everyone else looking on, it's just more proof that the whole game is fixed. So what happens when you truly believe the system is corrupt and that your voice just doesn't matter? Well, a lot of people simply check out. They just withdraw from civic life. And of course, that just leaves even more power in the hands of the very people who are benefiting from the rigged game in the first place. And this might be the most dangerous of all. This corrosion of trust, it starts to attack reality itself. As Reich puts it, truth is a common good. And when we can't even agree on basic facts, how can we have a meaningful debate? It becomes impossible. And trust in all our major institutions, from government to science to the media, it just plummets. Now, it's really important to get this. This isn't just some simple straight line decline. The The really crucial insight here is that this system of distrust creates a vicious, self-reinforcing cycle. That's what makes the problem chronic, not just a temporary dip.
So here's how that vicious cycle works. Step 1, trust erodes. People lose faith that the system is fair. Because of that, opportunism gets rewarded. The whatever-it-takes players start winning. Their success then confirms to everyone else, see, I told you the system was rigged. This in turn causes honest actors to just withdraw from the game. Why bother? And that withdrawal weakens the system's integrity even more, which, you guessed it, erodes trust further. And the whole cycle just repeats, getting worse and worse each time.
And this is the crisis in perception. We started treating our democracy not like that bridge, a man-made piece of infrastructure that needs constant maintenance, but more like a mountain, something we just assume will always be there, natural and permanent. And by ignoring the corrosion happening to its supports, we've let it get dangerously weak. Okay, finally, it is so crucial to understand that this whole erosion of civic trust doesn't happen in a vacuum. Nope. It's deeply, deeply interconnected with other powerful systems all across our society. I mean, just think about it for a second. A media system that's incentivized to reward outrage over actual understanding, of course that's going to accelerate fragmentation. Or how about extreme economic concentration that gives just a tiny handful of people the power to rig the rules? And an education system that maybe fails to teach civic duty and responsibility? Well, that just leaves the next generation completely unprepared to maintain that bridge we talked about. All of these things, they feed into the exact same cycle of decay. And so all of this leaves us with the one fundamental question that Reich's work poses. We've mapped out the system, we've diagnosed its failures, now we have to ask the really hard question. Can we reverse the incentives? Can we actually rebuild that trust and make the system finally work for the good of all? Crisis in Perception examines how systems shape belief and how better tools help us see clearly. This project is free and publicly accessible. If you'd like to support the time, tools, and research behind Crisis in Perception, you can become a supporter on Patreon.
For a longer audio-based analysis of this topic, see the deep dive linked in the description.
If you enjoy this kind of systems-level analysis, please like, subscribe, and comment with books or topics you'd like us to explore next.